Good morning, one and all present here. I am Dr. G. Preetha, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Applications, Fatima College, Madurai. Today we are going to discuss in detail about JUnit, Java Unit Testing. So the programmers are very well advanced in writing their own programs, but while comes to the testing cases, they are very weak. So how we are going to perform testing and also the program side by side. So we are going to cover how we are going to perform unit testing in this JUnit. So again I am discussing JUnit is Java unit testing. So the programmer's role here is while writing the program they can also perform the testing process too. So before going in depth into JUnit testing, so we will discuss about what are all the basic terminologies involved in bugs and testing. Software reliability, that is the basic key term. So while writing programs, we should have in mind that the software should be a reliable one. In the sense, the program should be free from errors and it should meet the certain conditions and the expectations of the customers. So the definition goes like this. Probability that a software system will not cause failure under specified conditions. And these are all the metrics involved in testing the software reliability. First one is it is measured by uptime. The next one is mean time till failure. And the third one is crashing of the data. Bugs, as we all know, it is considered as errors. So bugs are inevitable in any complex software system. We may say that our programs are running very well and it is free from errors. So even though it is free from errors, it should meet the customer's expectation. That is the vital role here we are discussing. So the bugs are inevitable in any complex software system. So the industry expectation is they are fixed like this. Say for example, if a program contains 1,000 lines of code, so we will fix the target as it should not more than 10 to 50 bugs. So it should not more than 50 errors in our program. And also a bug can be visible or it can hide your code until much later. So some conditions we may see that our program should not contain errors but it should throw some warning messages. So in that case we will check for our programs whether it is free from errors and it should also overcome our warning statements too. So there comes the testing. So testing a systematic attempt to reveal errors. In simple we can say like this. So when we will say our program passes the testing cases, it should free from errors. So if it contains errors, we should fix and overcome those errors that is given here. Failed test and passed test. An error was demonstrated, it is called as fail. If it is free from errors, that is we can rectify those errors, it is called as it passed the unit test. So unit testing is a piece of code that checks the behavior of a particular function. Why we are calling it as unit testing is we are checking the program statements one by one. So that is we are discussing here as unit testing. So unit testing will look for errors in a subsystem in isolation. Imagine that in a project it contains several modules. So say for example I am going to run a payroll inventory system. In that I will have several submodules. So we will check the unit testing in one by one modules and it should free from errors. So generally a subsystem means a particular class or object. So it contains several classes and objects. Java library JUnit helps us to easily perform the unit testing. So JUnit is described as Java unit testing. It is going to check our classes and objects without any errors. So it is given as pictorial representation. So Java unit testing is described as we are going to write piece of code here and all the testing cases we are going to write here. If it is free from errors, we will accept as it is. So again the Java unit testing will check for all our functions written here. So we are going to write the test cases and check all our functions, classes and subclasses. That is description. So So the basic idea of unit testing is given a class of code. Say for example, I am writing the code as calculate. I am writing another subclass calculate test. In that I am going to write some testing conditions and test cases. So if it is so here I am going to write two cases. First one is calculate. I am going to write the exact programming code. In calculate test, I am going to write some statements to check whether the calculate class is free from errors or not. So each method looks for particular results and will return the pass or fail. JUnit provides assertion commands to help us to write tests. We are discussing no. JUnit is going to check for your conditions. So where I am going to write the assertion statements in the assert commands. So we will discuss them later clearly. What do you understand by the term assertion statements? So put assertion calls in your test methods to check things you expect to be true. If they are not, the test will fail. So recheck your code and fix for errors. So again the same unit testing method, we will rewrite the code and will perform again the calculate test. Like that your process will follow till the program is free from. So types of unit testing. Unit testing, we are going to classify them into two kinds of testing. First one is manual, that is the programmer is going to check the statements one by one manually. The next one is with the help of tools we can test whether it is free from errors or not. So that is described as manual. So here no tools are included, but it is time consuming since the user is involved, and it is less reliable. We all know that the human, even though we are checking for errors, it may we may miss some kinds of error conditions or statements, but while it is an automated, that is we can include some tools to test the data. We all know it is very fast and it is more reliable. So again types of unit testing. Unit testing can be classified into manual and automated. So in manual the users are going to check the statements line by line, whereas in automated we will install some tools and it will check for error conditions, and it is fast and more reliable. So coming to the concept, unit test cases, we will discuss them with a simple example. Say for example, I am going to check whether my pen is writing properly or not. If it is not writing properly, what is the exact condition that the pen is unable to write properly? So to do that, what we will do? We will each and every parts we will disassemble and check where the error occurs. So here the pen is again divided into basically cup, body, nib and converter. So we are going to disassemble these parts and we are going to check whether it is where the error occurs. Similarly, in Java unit testing too, the program's class modules are divided into subclasses and we are going to fix the errors where the error occurs. So it is a part of code which ensures that another part of code works as expected. So this is explained with a simple example. So JUnit is a perfect unit test framework for Java programming language. So what we will understand here, JUnit is nothing but it is a unit testing framework which is especially designed for Java to check for errors. A formal return unit test case is characterized by a known input, that is precondition, and an expected output, that is post condition. So what we will discuss, what we are discussing here, known input and an expected output which is worked out before the test is executed. So two unit test cases for each requirement. One is positive test and another one is negative test. So hope you can understand this the simple example properly. So if suppose I want to check whether the pen is writing properly or not, I will disassemble this pen into several subclasses and parts and fix the errors where the problem occurs. Similarly, we are going to describe it with a simple program here. So see here. So before discussing into this Java unit testing, we will discuss what are all the features of JUnit. JUnit is an open source framework, that is the users can run and discuss the programs anywhere. which is used for writing and running tests. So we can write the tests dynamically based upon our program conditions. It provides annotations to identify test methods, and it also provides not only annotations but also assertions for testing the expected results. It provides test runners for running the tests. JUnit tests can be run automatically and they check their own results and provide immediate feedback so that the user can work with that feedback and rectify and um, provide the solutions. JUnit tests can be organized into test suites containing test cases. It shows test progress in a bar, that is green in the sense if the test is running smoothly, and it will also display red when the test condition fails. So these are all the features of JUnit. Annotations, how we are going to include in JUnit testing is described here. So JTest annotation specifies the test method. Say for example, I am going to run a program and I am fixing the timeout as 1000, and also before the class what I am expecting, and after the class what the results I am expecting. That is discussed in the previous slide. Pre-test conditions and the post-test conditions. So these are all the JUnit assertion methods. Assert true of test, assert false of test. So all this will work under Boolean conditions only. We all know that Boolean is a Boolean will return either true or false. And next one is assert equals. What is the expected outcome, but what I am getting it as actual outcome. So that is given as expected outcome is this, but I am getting the result as actual outcome. I am expecting the getting it as here. Next one is assert null value and fail condition. So these are all the JUnit assertion methods. Each method can also be passed a string to display if it fails. Example, assert equals of. We can provide the message here. Say for example, that expected program output I have got, or you have to work some conditions to modify your program, like that. JUnit and Eclipse. So run your Java unit testing. We are going to run the software Eclipse. So in this Eclipse, first we are going to fix the JUnit testing. So what we are going to do is I am going to add a plugin JUnit. How we are going to add a JUnit plugin, that is discussed here. To add JUnit to an Eclipse project, click project. In that we are going to give properties. So in the properties window I am going to build the path. In that choose the libraries. In the add library you are going to give JUnit. In that it is going to specify the installations of the JUnit code, and finally click finish. So to create a test case, the users are going to write the test cases for their own program codes. To do that, to create a test case, right click a file and choose new test case, or click a file and create new. In that give JUnit test case, that is discussed here. Eclipse can create steps of method that test you. JUnit test list. So imagine that we are going to import library functions, import org.jun. So this is the library function which is includes unit testing, import static org.assertion statement. So the both are available in the library files. So here I am going to write some test conditions, public class name. So in this step I am going to write the test condition. So that is given as skeleton here. So creating a JUnit test case. How I am going to create a JUnit test case? After writing the test cases, I am going to save in this JUnit test case. New JUnit test case. By clicking this test, I am going to write the statements. I am going to give the test cases the name. So calculator, I am going to write a program calculator. In this I am going to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, like basic programs I am writing in calculator class. So I am going to test that calculator. That's why I am given the name here as calculator test. One. So this is the JUnit test I am going to perform in Java. So import library files, classes, calculator test. Once you have given the test class name there, so Once you given the class name as calculator test, module will be loaded automatically. In this, you are going to write the test cases. So each and every methods which are written in calculator will be loaded here. So I have included a test add and test subtract methods. So in this, I am going to check for conditions whether it is working properly or not. So how we are going to run the test cases? Run as JUnit is right here. So say for example, in the test add method, I am given two statements. That is, I am declaring the variable values A as 1, 2, 3, 4 and B as 5, 6, 7, 8. I am going to add these two statements. But I am expecting the result to be 6912. What happens when the expected result is not found? It will show throw some errors. So see here, I am going to add these two statements. My expected outcome I am expecting is a 6912. If it contains some errors, it will throw the errors. So that is written here. We discussed that the red statement shows false, that is your program contains some errors, and the green uh, is used as an indication to show me that my program is free from, so that is shown here. So here when when the expected result is found, it will show me the green signal, otherwise it will show red signal. So that is described here. Assert equals expected and the actual result. If both are clear, it will show me the green symbol. So test likewise, test case 2 is described here. This program is used to find out the maximum element in a given array. Say for example, I am so what understanding we are describing in this JUnit test cases. First, you are going to write the basic program on your own, and you are going to write some test cases, and in that test cases you will fix the actual output and the expected output. So the expected output is there if the both the outputs that is expected and the actual output is okay, then we will accept the program as it is. Otherwise you will modify the program again and you will again perform the unit testing. So that is described here. Int maximum equal to 0, print I equal to 1, I less than array dot length. If maximum is less than your array of I, then that is your maximum number. Otherwise you will uh, print the maximum number given array. So see here, void test find of maximum. In that everything is works perfect. Say for example 1, 3, 4 and 2. If the exact and actual output it throws as 3, then the result is fine. That's why it is given as green signal. Thank you one and all.